Hello, everybody, and welcome to Final Show Films. I'm John, your executive producer, or Sensaku, here at Final Show Films. I want to thank you all for tuning in. I particularly want to thank our Patreon supporters at patreon.com/fsfilms, particularly our $25 tier supporters, Jeremy Alexander, Samantha Bates, Cat Waterflame, and L, without whom we wouldn't be able to do nearly as much of the stuff that we do. So, thank you very much for supporting us there, and thank you all of you that watch us live regularly. We appreciate that. And if you are watching live, please sit back, relax, and enjoy. That's the wrong one. Hello, everybody, and welcome back. I fucked it up already. To Gran Terra Shadowfront, The Final Days. I'm John, or Sensaku, your game master for the evening, and this household has already sent at least 30 coat hangers to the Supreme Court justices, particularly Brett Kavanaugh, because I know he'll cry about it. And with me this week is Jack.
Hey everybody, this is Jack speaking to you across the internet right now. I play Gent Minar, the half-elf spellslinger. And yeah, fuck the Supreme Court right about now. Most of them.
And Cody.
Cody, I'm playing Ithram Valar, Hobgoblin War Wizard.
And Jeremy.
Hello, my name is Jeremy. I am playing Sin, a warlock, changeling, other descriptors.
And William.
Hi, I'm William, and I'm playing Valdez Stonebeard, the Dwarven Samurai. I almost said vampire.
The Dwarven Vampire.
Hell yeah.
We call them dwarpires.
Look, I know I wasn't paying attention last week when I was watching, but apparently I really missed something.
And Holly.
Hi, I'm Holly. I'm playing Vespia, the Tiefling Channeler.
And Craig.
Hi, I'm playing Grumman Bellmender, the Way of the Drunken Master Monk.
And Mara.
Hi, I'm Mara. I'm playing Titania Valkorian, a Ladrin Druid of the Circle of the Grim Harvest.
And Nikki.
Hi, it's me, Nikki. I'll be playing Scuzmo T Buckets, your ghosty boy rogue, and fuck the Supreme Court as a uterus haver. They can get the fuck out of my reproductive rights. Sorry, excuse me. I have opinions.
What? People on this show having opinions?
Opinions? What?
As always, Black Lives Matter, trans rights, human rights. And when last
Eat
we
the
left
rich.
off, with butter.
Butter!
When last we left off,
John
anyways.
has the spinning disc right now.
Spinny rainbow wheel.
That would have been my entirety of my recap. However, it's
Spinning
been requested that I do an
rainbow
actual recap. So, last time on Dragon Ball Z, the Steelhearts stayed in a comfortable cottage produced by Vespia, who just happened to have a cottage chest on her. Many compliments were given to Vespia's chest.
They always are.
There were muffins inside, which people were able to eat, which fed you, or at least fed 8 of you, enough food to last you for a whole day. And conversations were had. Some conversations about Titania's Reaper spirit. Some conversations about what to do next. People were healed. And it was determined that the next destination would be to a lich yard in the north of Isfeld. Valdeth, mysteriously indicating that there was something there that she needed to see, and not elaborating on it too much, except to Titania. For the most part, for the rest of the evening, mostly, it was just resting and recovering and identifying, as Ithram identified a whole horde of magical artifacts dropped by the loot goblin known as the Mage King Kestrel. almost all of which Ithram is currently wearing and attuned to. Because the gear dropped by the Mage King Kestrel attunes as a gear set, basically. And so long as you are attuning to all of it, it all takes up one attunement slot, and then not counting the Spellblade and the staff that the Mage King had. Oddly, Ithram didn't want to attune to the cursed book, spell book that Kestrel had been
Was
using.
empty.
Thought about it real hard.
It was empty. But I mean, you could fill it up
So it
really
gets
easy
sent
just by
there.
fighting a bunch of spellcasters.
Yeah.
Oh, fight me, fight me. Then you could finally get the spell prestidigitation.
Nah.
It's a reaction
I-
to actually capture the spell. It's automatic. But the party then sort of tried to figure out what they wanted to do with the lantern in which had been sealed the dread titan Mediri. Eventually deciding that they did not want to use magical means to tamper with it for fear that it might open. Definitely didn't want to open it. And in general, spent a long night watching over it before taking it to a cliffside in the morning and burying it in stone, because they didn't want to throw it over the edge of the cliff into the water so that the aboleths could have it. But at this point, the adventuring party has buried the lantern, sequestering it to the point where it cannot be seen. So it's
Or
invisible.
detected magically.
Yeah, or detected magically. So it is invisible and encased in stone. And they put their backs to the forgotten kingdom on the plateau that Kestrel once guarded that seems entirely devoid of life, and turn northward towards a long-abandoned lich yard where Valdeth seems to expect to find something interesting.
Interesting is certainly a word.
So we
Horrible is another one.
pick up on the edge of a cliff overlooking a pretty nasty fall into raging waters below.
Okay, are we ready?
Aye, let's get moving.
All right.
Yes, absolutely.
I cast Windwalk. Missed.
All right, you cast Windwalk, targeting everyone. Oh, before I forget, those of you watching, Ilana will not be joining us. Their system, they're actually moving, so they won't be joining us for a while. We wish them luck in their move, and when they get back, their spot will be waiting for them. So,
As we can move 2 squares in 8 hours with a wind walk, yeah?
yes.
Yeah, so we'll end up right about there.
Gent's going to take point and try and scout ahead as we go.
All right. So you turn to mist and fly. Can you target everybody with Windwalk?
Yeah, up to 10 willing creatures.
Hey, there happens to be 9 of you. Unless anybody... Oh, and 1 pet. So exactly 10. Though assuming that Ithram's familiar can just go into a pocket dimension.
Yeah, you'd
Yeah,
be in the
that's-
pocket
yeah.
dimension before.
So you all
Same
turn
with
to
the pet.
you all turn into mist. Fly. Gent does his best to scout ahead. Go ahead and give me perception checks. You don't
Okay.
have advantage because your goggles are also mist.
Okay. Boop. It's a 13 to start with.
So as you're heading north towards Lichard, the first thing you notice is it's getting close to difficult to see, because you all recall that there had been a blizzard last night while you were indoors. As you're heading further north, you are encountering more and more heavy snow and weather. And only a few hours into your trip, so about 2 hours, you've crossed that small gulf and are back into Isfeld, and you are beginning to lose sight of each other as the snowfall and the weather begins to pick up. Some sort of snowstorm is forming around the area you're at. in addition to losing
okay.
sight of each other, or potentially losing sight of each other, depending on what you do, you've also noticed that you seem to have slowed down as your mist forms are getting colder and colder. And you're not feeling the cold yourselves, but you are. It's almost like you're beginning to have to move more sluggishly through the snowstorm.
We can't speak, but we can use our telepathic link, right?
What telepathic link?
Did we get telepathic link? Is that still active?
I mean, I can telepathically talk to y'all, but one at a time. And
Oh, I thought that was a Steelheart thing for some reason.
No, that was a spell that Ithram had cast.
That was
I mean, if he
telepathic.
cast it, I don't know if he re-upped it this morning. He might
Okay,
have.
I got it.
It only lasts for an hour, so
All right.
Okay, so we can't communicate with each other.
Not the
I
moment,
can
no.
translate through everybody if need be.
yeah.
But I will actually reach out to, let's start with Velda.
Your telepathy, does it require line of sight?
Do we not see the wind that we are?
I just said it's getting difficult to see each other. I just wanted to check and see if that ability is line of
I
sight.
believe it's line of sight specific.
So give me a perception check to see if you can pick out Valdeth or whoever you're looking at.
Oh, good. I'm not terrible at these.
Believe in
That was sarcasm.
you.
Oh god.
So roll me a d9.
Making me type things.
Okay. What's your message that you're trying to send to Valdeth?
This is starting to get concerning. Thoughts?
Grumman, do you hear that?
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like you just picked Grumman no matter what I roll.
Oh, no. Grumman was 6. Grumman was
And
6.
what-
Titania was 7. Scuzz was 8. And you don't know who 9 was.
And what was the direct message?
Whatever I just said, I literally don't.
This is getting
remember even
this
the
is
words.
getting
Okay.
concerning thoughts.
I think we ought to try to round each other up. I've been trying to talk to everybody, but then I realized I don't have a mouth, and then I don't have ears, so I think it's kind of problematic. Which way are you?
About 3 words into that, I'm looking for a different gust of wind.
Since Gent
Go
was
ahead and give me
scouting,
a-
as soon as visibility starts to decrease, can he just find whoever's closest to him?
I was
ahead.
still listening. I was just
Yeah.
looking for a different gust of wind.
Go ahead and roll me a d8 this time.
Do you respond in any way to which one are you?
Do you want Gent to roll you the D8 or
No, this is
Sin? Okay.
Sin.
Sin decides in a moment of remarkable restraint to not respond to the "who are you," because if they did respond, it would 100% be something like the Lich of this area or something like that.
No. He didn't say. He said, "Which one are you? Like which
Yes.
cloud are you?" I think you.
Oh, okay. That one over there.
Do I have there's no spatial sense along with this telepathy, right?
No. So what's your message? What's your next message, Sin?
Just gonna keep repeating that until it hits
Okay.
the right person.
Valdeth, you hear it this time.
Okay.
We should put down and get shelter. Try and send that to everyone.
I'll try. It is not easy to. Not everybody is easy to see right now.
But we need to get down on the ground before we actually lose everyone.
I will try to pass it along. And hopefully the ones who I don't reach will notice us all descending.
Yeah, you're able to pass the message along to everyone.
Okay,
Again, was there anything you were trying to do with the one that you were getting closer to?
He was trying to get visual arrangement on them, and then he's just going heavy
then
weather,
you get
stay
the-
close. Right, yeah.
And then you get the message from Sin. So
Okay.
all right.
Yes. Seems the weather's getting rather difficult. What's the
seems like
plan?
more than weather. That would be my guess. We are descending
Excellent.
together as a group.
So, does anyone not descend down to the ground and begin to reform?
Who sneaks off?
I'm condensing. I have a question. Does this seem like... Basically, I'm wondering if I can change this with change weather, or if this is going to be a weird magical effect that I can't override.
You don't know.
Can I tell?
At the moment, it just
'Cause
seems like natural weather.
Okay. I'm gonna start doing control weather.
Gent's gonna do a few loops, and if he sees everybody else down on the ground, he'll join.
All right, so you all condense down, and as you
Yeah.
condense down and reform, immediately you all can tell that this is significantly below freezing. And you get a sense that the reason why you were getting why it was getting difficult to move in your cloud form was because you were being cooled down by the air around you to the point of being sluggish. Effectively, snowstorms of this caliber are difficult terrain for your mist forms.
Okay.
Science stuff, whatever.
Also difficult terrain for your physical forms, but you know.
Oh, that's cold.
It takes me 10 minutes to cast this thing. But I start doing that.
All right.
So Titania's doing something.
Can someone get us some shelter quickly? Any spellcasters?
I still have my chest we could use.
That would certainly be helpful.
Great.
Trying to get the weather under control.
Could you do it from inside, or do you need to be outside for it?
It's an outside thing. But it'll be done soon.
John, is the area...
Make me Titania, do you have any resistance to cold right now?
Yes. Yeah,
Okay, cool.
I set the staff.
Make me a Constitution saving throw with advantage.
Okay.
Sorry, Nikki.
Is everything obscured by mist that we are in right now, or do we see anything within at least like 5 or 10 feet of us?
It's hard to see things next to you right now. You're in the middle of a snowstorm. That's just
Snowstorm, not mist. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, blizzard. You were all mist, but you're in a snowstorm.
The blizzard that was outside went north, and we just flew into it.
So with a 16, you are able to continue casting for the moment. Titania, you can tell even with your cold resistance, a blizzard this bad is going to be constantly testing your concentration until you finish casting. So it's going to be a Constitution saving throw every round.
Okay.
Just so that you can continue saving.
For 10 minutes, that's going to be literally 100 Constitution saves. There is no point in trying at that point.
Yeah.
That sounds exhausting.
I haven't heard John say don't roll, so...
You can do it. You can try. You have advantage because you have cold resistance. You do have advantage on the checks. So.
And if we made a fire, it might help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you had cold immunity,
DC?
you wouldn't have to make the checks.
What's the DC?
DC 10.
Yeah, I failed. 1, 2, 3, 4 in. No, 3. No, 1 in. Never mind. I only got a +2.
Can we make a windbreak or light a fire or anything that would help?
If you want to try, yeah. Vespia has her chest out. Are you asking for her to
Yeah,
open
but
it?
Vespia will take.
That seems like a really bad idea in the middle of a blizzard. I'm just saying.
Hang on. Let me look at the chest real quick.
Say goodbye to your nipples.
Hang on.
Vespia, don't hold your chest out in this cold.
Control
You'll be able
weather
to cut
requires
diamonds.
you to be outside while casting
Yeah.
the spell, so it's not like that would help Titania anyway.
Let me take a look at Holly's chest.
Morgan does take the opportunity, since nobody can see anything, to shift into Marith.
To who?
Marith.
Marith.
The person that you first met.
Got it.
The
Okay.
persona that you first met.
So
This is
would
the cold weather persona.
question, John.
Yes.
If I stayed outside next to Titania, would I be able to use shape water to basically still the snow around her, so that basically all she's dealing with is the wind and not like any biting any of the snow or anything like that?
Hang on, I have a plan to answer that question, but I think I'm good.
Because is most of what's going to be pestering her like the snow and I'm guessing sleet or something like that?
Yeah, I'll say that. I'll say with the way shape water is described. Yeah, you could use an action to shape water and protect Titania. You'll be making constitution checks against the cold, though. Unless you have something that gives you cold resistance as well.
Fire shield out of the incinerator staff.
How long does that last?
It lasts, I believe, an hour. I was literally just looking at it and then I closed.
Nice. I could also just.
Well, and shape water is a cantrip that takes an action. It doesn't require concentration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the constitution check
cold.
is against the cold, not concentrating on the spell.
Yes,
It's
do
so
not
that
freeze to death.
Ithram doesn't freeze to death. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I have cold weather clothes, but yeah, and it lasts 10 minutes.
And yeah, there's no long rest or anything on the chest, so yeah, you can open it up anytime. You can open it up as many times as you want, Holly.
And she does.
Yeah, behind the scene, the cottage pops back into being. Yeah, so yeah, you can cast Fire Shield on yourself, and if you're using shape water, Titania will not have to make any Constitution check saving throws.
Yeah, I'll cast Fire Shield on myself through the staff. Kind of just stick it in next to me, and just basically acts like just a warm torch nearby.
Space heater. Thank you.
Yeah. What a patio space heater.
Uh-huh.
What does it look like as you're maintaining this fire shield on yourself and deflecting all of this snow and cold weather away from Titania?
He's literally just holding a hand out, and every once there's a brief burst of magic as you can see like the momentum that all the sleet and snow has, and then it just looks like a still area around her.
Yeah, so just all the
lightly falling snow.
Just immediately changes momentum instantly in this dome around Titania.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just holding your hand out. There's just that crackle of sort of red lightning that is your typical spell casting affinity.
Yeah, just a light arc every once in a while.
Yep. All right, so they're doing that. Vespia's opened the cottage. Everyone else, are you getting into Vespia's chest?
Fuck yes.
Yes.
Grumman will stay outside and watch the two casters. Watch over them.
So you have resistance to cold, right?
I am immune to the effects of extreme cold.
You're good then.
Ollie, this is a very silly question. Is there a kitchen inside
There
the
is.
cottage?
There is.
Great. Vespia, what a nice rack.
She'll wink. That's does.
For those of you that, for the reminder, the cottage is a wooden 2-story building that's 40 feet wide and 65 feet long. Inside is a kitchen, a dining room, and a large parlor with an ever-burning fire in its hearth. A curling stairway leads to the second floor, which has 4 bedrooms equipped with furniture you'd find in a modest, respectable inn. The first floor has 6 windows, and each bedroom on the second floor has 1. When activated, the cottage has a small door on the side facing you. The cottage's kitchen is filled with magical utensils that automatically stir, measure, and heat all manner of cuisine. Any check made with cook's utensils within the cottage has advantage on the roll. And when left to its own devices, the cottage magically produces an array of baked goods for up to 8 creatures when the cottage appears for the first time each day, and again each dawn until it's dismissed. So there's another batch of baked goods there. Eating the food within the cottage provides enough nourishment to sustain a creature for 1 day. So there are 8 more selections of baked goods in the kitchen, as those of you that go inside, go inside.
Does crab ragu count as a baked item?
No.
Damn it. Someone sent me a TikTok earlier, and that's all I can think about now. He'll go for a cupcake.
Grumman made Scuzz seafood chowder last night, though. Because
that's why he's just like, still wants it.
He's trying to find things with the most butter possible.
So Scuzz first goes into Vespia's chest and then dives straight into her cakes.
Head first.
You're having way too much fun with this one.
Yes.
You expected anything less.
I now know why he gave me this item.
I didn't mean it for that, but it ended up being good.
Uh,
I
We
didn't know how you'd
are
be playing, how you'd be characterizing your
12-year-olds.
character. So, everyone else is inside?
Yep.
All right,
Yep.
I'll doing anything for the next 10 minutes while Titania is focusing on casting spell.
Eating.
Making sure his firearms are still functional.
Give me a Tinker's Tools check with either wisdom or intelligence.
Valdeth will grab a baked good for herself and then grab 2 more, one for Titania and one for Ithrim, because they will probably need it after they are done doing that.
I'm not going to eat
21.
all the baked goods. That's guys with a
Uh,
mouthful of baked goods.
With the 21, these both of your firearms are magical. They are completely unaffected.
Excellent. Good.
One of them isn't even a firearm unless you will it to be.
Yeah, one of them is a piece of bone.
It's gonna fit right in.
It's gonna fit right in the boat zone. Grumman,
So, go ahead.
Roman's still outside.
you're still outside. Then never mind. Go ahead, Jeremy.
So, do we have any preparation for what I consider the very likelihood that this is not natural and that control weather will not help?
We'll have to figure it out, but we've had to wander through harsh conditions on foot before.
Indeed. I'm just
There's absolutely no reason to continue on foot, even if it's going to be just as difficult traversing this under our own muscular power than it would be while mist in the air. And mist in the air, even at slow speeds, is much faster than our walking pace.
We just want to stick close to the ground so we can't lose each other.
That's my concern. My concern is the faster we go, the more likely we are to slightly split off. And if visibility becomes even worse, it doesn't matter if we're 5 feet apart, we won't see each other. And somebody will get lost eventually.
I understood. I don't see how that's going to be any different on the ground. If visibility is such that we can't see each other in the air, we certainly won't be able to see each other on the ground because you're going to have far less visibility close to the ground with drifting, whiteouts, that sort of thing.
When
Well-
you get lost on the ground and realize that you're lost, you can shout out.
That is fair.
Oh, I have something that I don't mind handing out to my friends. Scuzz is going to pull out one of his daggers, and do the open lock thing in the air, and it pops open. And he pulls out a bag of candy that's not the one that Grumman gave him, and this bag seems to glow, and he's like, "I will give one of you one of these. I can give everybody one."
To what end?
He pulls it out, and the inside is like a little gumdrop, but it glows. It's like a bright, sunshiny glow. And he's like, I ate one by accident, and I glowed for like a while. An action. It's called a bag of sun drops. It lasts for 10 minutes. Yeah, but if you drop one, it makes like a giant sunbeam just shoot straight up, and it lasts for like a while. So if one of us gets lost, it's like a giant beacon that could be seen in the snow.
Potentially.
The light is sunlight.
Yeah, it lasts until the start of your next turn.
I don't relish the idea of trudging our way through this, but from a sticking together and not getting lost perspective, it is legitimately safer, other than, being attacked by rampaging beasts stalking the snow and the like, if we're on the ground and can speak.
Well, if we're lucky, then we won't have to worry about it because this is just a natural snowstorm blowing north, and Titania will be able to clear it.
When has luck ever helped us?
I completely agree. However, there's a first time for everything.
This
Could
is
also
true.
use a
Statistic.
rope.
If we're physical, yes, lashing together with a rope would be by far the most sensible approach. If not, it's possible that Ithram could link all of our minds together again.
This is true.
And then we could at least have communications, regular
Most.
check-ins, that sort of thing.
Most, all but one.
Right.
But in that particular case, you've got the innate
As long as I
power.
can stay close enough to see you, yes.
Yes.
And that's fine with me.
Which, until Titania clears up the snowstorm, is really difficult if we're too far away.
Yes. Close
for
enough
now-
to see is close enough to snuggle.
That's right. I do love a good snuggle. I got nothing else. So it's like I got
All right.
snowdrop, I got sun-drops, I got rope.
So, 10 minutes passed.
Yep.
Tanya, you finish casting your spell.
Mm-hmm.
You can, so,
I'm assuming we're at Arctic cold. I would like it to just get down to regular.
right. Well, so the way it works is that every time when you cast a spell, you can change precipitation, temperature, and wind.
Yep.
It then takes a D4 times 10 minutes for the new conditions to take effect.
Mm-hmm.
And then once they do, you can change them again. You can only change them one stage at a time. So right now, you are at stage 6 on temperature, stage 5 on wind, and stage 5 on precipitation.
Okay. Yep. I would like to bring them all down by one. And it also says I can change the direction of the wind.
You
I
can.
would like it to push us when we're missed forward toward our destination.
Okay, so you want the wind at your backs.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. So the direction of the wind does change, or begins to change. Go ahead and roll me a d4.
Okay.
In 40 minutes,
Yep.
you have a reminder. You have concentration on this for 8 hours. In
Uh-huh.
40 minutes, you'll be able to change the situation again.
Mm-hmm.
It will take 40 minutes for the currently deadly blizzard outside to be reduced to simply a cold snowstorm.
So, I mean, Windwalk also lasts for 8 hours.
Yeah.
So if we burn an hour or two doing this, we won't get the full distance of Windwalk, but we'll still end up like around here-ish by the end of
Yeah.
it, which is still much further.
It's significant. And as far as I'm reading it, it does travel.
Well,
with
and
me,
you've already
so-
traveled 2 hours of the Windwalk, so...
Yeah.
Thanks, Ithram.
No problem. It seems to be taking effect.
Currently, still a vicious snowstorm.
Yeah.
That was too quiet to be heard, Mara.
Maybe. I mean, the other option is I could turn into something big that doesn't really feel the cold and try and, like, carry you all, but...
Titania turns into a woolly mammoth.
Or a white dragon. There are
Or-
some
But you have,
Just
to you have to
Elsa.
concentrate on shape change.
Yes, I do.
Or just change into
I have
Elsa.
to concentrate on this, too.
Yeah, so you wouldn't be able to shape change while also, but you
No,
could turn
yeah.
into a large furry beast with
Yes.
just wild
Yeah,
shape.
but that's using a whole bunch of, like, that was my... I have used several high-level spells at this point.
Yeah, that's why I say wild
I'm-
shape into a large furry beast rather than trying to cast another spell.
Yeah, I can't get as big that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Do you adjourn to the cottage?
Yes, let's return.
You
Titania
can't do that. Right. Titania can't.
You must
I'll
be
let them
outdoors.
know.
Moving to a
Done.
place where you don't have a clear path to the sky ends the spell early.
Oh, that's
Ends
fair.
it.
You have to be outside.
Can I construct something like a windbreak that would at least let Ithram go inside?
Do you have the tools to do so?
I have all kinds of tools. I mean,
I mean-
how thick is the snow here? Could I just start cutting and stacking snow or ice blocks?
The snow isn't particularly thick here, mostly because it's being blasted away by the wind, and being whipped up into the air. So it's definitely like ankle deep, but it's not getting any deeper than that because it's constantly being kicked back up.
So all you have to do is be able to see the sky.
Yes. Hang on. Let me double check.
Well, she needs a clear path to the sky.
Yeah.
Right. So there can't be any solid objects in
There can't be
between
anything
and the
over her
sky.
A
head.
roof.
Well, yeah, that's so that's what I'm wondering.
To be clear,
So if I
a
use-
clear path to the sky does not say straight up. If you open a window,
Yeah,
she can be inside.
Okay. All
or just like
right.
stand inside the door, or I could set up the tuber and you could just sit at the bottom of the ladder.
Also, is just returning to let everybody know that the spell has been cast.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
theoretically, yeah, Titania could stand in the doorway as long as she's still got a clear line of sight to the sky.
Or again, leave the door open a window, or just open a window and Tanya hop in. The magical warmth of inside the cottage is immediate. It doesn't care if the door's open or not.
Yeah, so Titania can just hop in a window or stand in the doorway.
Okay. As
So-
long she's as long as that won't break the spell, then
They won't. You
she'll
clear. So the only way you would not have a clear path to the sky is if there were no windows and the door was closed.
Okay.
Because
Can
so
this
long
be-
as you can see the sky is not just above you; it is to the horizon. So long as you can see the sky. Now, granted, obviously visibility is a lot harder here, so you need to be a little bit closer to the outdoors than you would need otherwise. But
I feel like if she was standing like in the center of the cottage, she would have lost a path to the sky.
but
at
like,
that point.
control weather is commonly cast from like inside captains' cabins on ships. It's because you can see the sky from inside the cabin.
Can this be that trope where Grummond is just standing there and just sort of looking around, trying to figure out how to make ice blocks and just sort of muttering into himself and going, well, this would be a lot easier if you could just do it from inside looking out the window, wouldn't it? And like Ithram and Titania are like, son of a bitch.
So
But yeah, I walk back to the cottage.
again, that was too quiet to be heard, Mara.
Oh yes. I adjourn.
You adjourn to the cottage.
Yes.
All right. So the door
casting.
opens. Titania comes in, situates herself around a window. You're not still casting now. You just have to concentrate basically on
Yeah.
Get some sheets.
Keeping an eye on it, but I think pretty continuously because she is also concerned that this is magical and is not going to work.
Put some blankets around Titania.
it. You do have an idea of how you do have an idea of how long it'll take for the weather to change. Again, that was too quiet to be heard.
I think in like 40 minutes or something. It's working.
Excellent.
Where is your
All
microphone
right.
at, Mara? Because it keeps
It's
happening.
right here. I can put it like right here, but then it's right in front of the camera, and I don't like that.
What's wrong with right in front of the camera?
Don't like that.
So, plan is wait till the weather calms somewhat and then resume our progress?
I think so.
This
I
is
think
Good.
just 2 steps would be enough for us to get going again, because you'll get it from cold to cool, and then rain to overcast, and then gale to strong wind.
I've changed the direction, so it'll be pushing us forward.
That's helpful.
All right. So, is there anything anyone wants to do over the next 40 minutes?
I mean, Valdeth will give Titania and Ithram the baked goods she saved for them.
And Gen's going to pull out a dice set and see if anybody wants to play a game and pass the time.
Me.
Sure,
Yeah.
Valdeth will play.
I'll play.
Gambling. I'm in.
Excellent.
Aw.
Are you playing for actual money or just to play?
Just to play.
Okay.
I mean, unless somebody else suggests money.
Baleth will just play.
Everyone playing, give me a D100 roll.
Can I use my dice set with that I'm proficient in place of a D100 roll?
I mean,
Because I feel like
Your-
having a proficiency in the tool is better than just random chance.
Hey, fuck
Hey.
you.
and if you were playing for money, I would let you use your relevant skill.
Okay.
Scuzz doesn't actually say that. Scuzz is like, hey, hey,
Yeah.
that's a big number.
Hold on. Just let me check and see.
I don't know if high or low is good.
I have to
Exactly.
check spell check. I have to check some spells.
This is gonna be the determining factor, because if Jeremy rolls high, then obviously that's bad.
Hey, not inaccurate. All right. Yeah. No.
You don't know what I'm choosing these for, or if they're all for the same thing.
This is to determine if we get enough that are really high, the Trask shows up.
Oh, goody, I'm
How
excited.
many skeletons are in the boneyard?
Mm-hmm. All of them, apparently.
So Scuzz has to fight 93. Grummond has to fight 99.
99 dead guys.
Jack's fine. Gent only has to fight 4.
I only have to fight 4 Tarasks. Excellent.
So the
Come
game
down
that you're
and punch him around.
the game that you're playing is a very, very quick. Basically, it's very, very quick, basic counting with dice. Kind of like poker, or blackjack. Which are two very different games, I know, but
Is
it's
it
a
Doing great,
metaphor.
John.
That's
I mean,
not
is,
good.
is it
dude.
literally dice poker?
Yeah, dice poker's a thing.
Yeah, sure, we'll say that. It's a very quick game, one that results in wins and losses very rapidly and sometimes draws. The majority of the time, Grummond and Scuzz lose.
This is great.
The majority of the time, Gent wins. Valdeth and Sin sort of hold their own around the middle.
Drummond is just having a great time.
Scuzz cannot read anyone's faces to save his life.
I appreciate that Valdeth, who was 15 off from the lowest roll, but almost 50 off from me, is in the middle with me.
You're both between 10 and 90.
No, legit, absolutely fair.
But,
All right. Well, next time we go to a town that's based around gambling, Drummond, Scuzz,
Oh,
You're
yeah, we
going to
could
be-
we
you're
could
going to
shock
be
him.
our shills. Hmm?
Yeah. And then we have you, the rich boy that comes in with the pocket that he's definitely like got too much money, and everyone's like, oh, he's gonna be the easy one. And then you just scam him. You scam them out of their pants. That's what happens, right? Every time you go into a gambling hall, you get scammed out of your pants.
Kind of looks to see what sort of pants Scuzz is wearing at the moment.
He's wearing pants.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, you seem to be doing all right for yourself, Bucket.
I mean,
I'm glad they're still on.
should we go to a town where
Aren't we all?
gambling's the case? That's just where you cheat. So
Gets like,
As-
wait, you weren't?
no.
As entertaining as games of chance are, I prefer them with a little bit more of. This is my mother talking in me. A little bit more of a political lean, so I'm more fond of games like Liar's Dice.
I like goldfish.
It's just nice to
Liar's
sit
Dice.
down out of the weather, spend a little time together.
So by
What
the
was,
end
that,
of
what was
it,
that Jeremy said?
I just said was a green liar's dice. Yes.
Yeah.
I like dice, not dice. Darts. I like darts.
towards the end of the 40-minute dice game, you all noticed there's a not drastic but distinct drop in the wind speed and the amount of snow coming down outside. It has now gone from dead of winter Arctic blizzard to a snowstorm anywhere else.
I think give it one more change and we'll be good to take off.
Great work, Titania. Looking quite nice out there.
Thanks. Do I
beginning
think
to look
like stepping outside for a moment to gauge, is this going to be enough the way it is for us to move unencumbered, or
It's
we
still
need
going to
to
be
wait more?
so in this particular weather pattern, it's going to be difficult terrain for your physical forms. It's not going to be difficult terrain for your mist forms. It seems
Okay,
like
so we
only
could go
that
now.
only that most severe level of cold is where it begins to get difficult for your mist forms.
Yeah, I think we can move.
All right, let's get going then.
All right.
Do you want to hold it at this temperature or drop it again?
Um,
I mean, technically, you can drop it again, and we can just get going, and it'll change over time.
yeah, I think we'll do that.
The
do another
after waiting for about half an hour, the last 10 minutes, Ithram will ritual cast the telepathic bond on everybody but Sin.
Cool.
All right.
So we have
So-
that for the first hour of travel.
You have spent the majority of 3 hours so far of your wind walk, because 10 minutes to cast a spell, 40 minutes waiting for the weather to change, 10 minutes left on the hour. Which leaves you with 5 hours left on your wind walk.
We've only wasted about an hour of wind walk, though.
And to give you an idea of
We're
where
moving for the other two.
yeah, to give you an idea of where you're at, you are
About here-ish.
Other side of the little bay there, maybe, or something.
right there, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
So that's where your
So-
current 5-hour progression is going to be beginning from.
Yeah, so we won't make it all the way to the other end of the square. We'll probably make it like here-ish by the time we
Yeah.
finish.
Yeah, right around there. So, you all step out. Vessia packs her chest back up.
Mhm.
And you mist form and go.
Tucks her chest away.
Titania, you want to roll another d4 for how long it takes the weather to decrease a step?
Yep, go and roll me another d4. 3.
30
So,
minutes later.
Yeah, 30 minutes.
As we're moving.
How far down are you going to want to drop it?
I think
Just-
mild, like that second step is fine. Then it just becomes like a nice, cool, overcast day.
Well, it was at like Arctic cold, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Arctic cold to cold, torrential rain to rain, and storm to gale. So one more step would be strong wind, cool, and overcast.
Yeah, that's what I'm going for.
And given that this is control weather and not control climate, you're unlikely to do too much lasting damage to the ecosystem.
No, but the warmer you make it, the hell it's going to the worse it's going to be at the end of that 8 hours.
Temperature
Look.
shock is a thing.
You've set it to unbearable heat, and the spell
No,
ends.
no, I don't do that.
And suddenly you get weather whiplash. It's amazing.
You go from boiling sun to torrential Arctic blizzard in 40 minutes. I'm sure that'll do wondrous things.
Especially because if you've got it up to blistering sun, you have evaporated a large amount of that moisture that is now liquid and added it to the atmosphere.
But you continue on. By the time your wind walk runs out, you have over the course of the wind walk, you've noticed that there's not a lot of differential in the terrain here.
Mhm.
It is mostly rocky, snow-covered, cold. Even with the lessened snow, the visibility is not great. It's getting better as the weather adjusts back down to just overcast. But there's just not a lot here. You see the occasional sign of animal life, and the occasional sign of some form of civilization at some point. There's some ruins sticking up out of the snow. But nothing like the other extreme north that you've been to, over where the Hive of Ruin is. Unlike that, there's just nothing out here. and eventually you land. You reform. You still got 3 hours, or no, you still got
2 hours on control.
2 hours on control weather.
Okay.
Let's put the cottage up and get settled in for the night because that blizzard's going to come back very quickly.
Vespia will take out her chest again.
Open it back up to the delight and amazement of all.
Mhm.
I have a question. Do we know how big this blizzard? Because I'm trying to remember when we came kind of in. Do we know like basically how long it took for the storm system to pass over us last night?
No, none of you were awake long enough to get that
To
full
really
sense of
observe the
time.
storm system.
All right. Never mind.
We don't know how thick this storm is.
Yep. Okay.
You also don't know if it just spawned on top of where you were at and started moving, or if it was passing through you.
Mhm. Yep.
We don't know how many seas this storm has.
Okay. We could keep moving a little bit further. I've got 2 hours.
I
Less.
don't want to push it. I think if we get the weather down in control a bit tomorrow, we can just wind walk the rest of the way.
Okay.
Well, the other question on that would be, to my mind, do we want Titania to burn that many of her resources when we're getting ready to walk into a hive of undead, potentially? Or are we planning to camp on the outskirts of the Boneyard before?
I think we'll get a look and try not to attract any attention and back off if there's obvious activity and rest before we go in.
All right.
And I think scoping it out would be better before we decide where we're going to rest. We don't even know if there's going to be a safe spot to post up.
That's reasonable as well. Fair enough.
If there is a safe spot, I prefer to go in fully rested, but maybe a sort of thing where we want to land running.
I can also change us into. There were animals and stuff. I have seen some things that are adapted to this area. I could change us into. I think I can get all of us. Hang on, let me check the spell because giant group. Damn.
Oh,
people.
animal shapes?
Yeah.
And speaking of
Yeah.
that sort of thing, though, while you're preparing that, Titania, I'm going to go have a look around and see if there's anything in the immediate area that we need to be concerned about.
Okay. In like an hour, I'm going to start letting it go so it doesn't. The storm doesn't slam into us if it's still there.
I'm gonna pop Shikar out and he'll sit over on your shoulder and take Shikar with you.
Any
Excellent.
number of willing creatures. That's terrifying.
That is
Any
terrifying.
number. Damn.
Any number.
You must be real popular at Coachella.
24 hours. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Scuzz is gonna go
I'm
with you
doing
too,
this.
again.
Titania needs to go to Burning Man.
Yeah.
No. So Gen's going to start by just going outside, climbing it as high as he can on the outside of the cottage, getting a vantage on the initial surrounding area. And then if the weather's still fairly calm, doing a couple circuits out and around, no further than probably a quarter mile away from the cottage.
Okay. And Skuz joins you.
Shikar takes off and looks around too.
Ready to have a look, buckets?
Yeah.
Go ahead and give me a perception check for Shikar, Skuz, and Gent.
Visual?
Yes, visual.
22 for Gent.
26.
Nice.
Just one up.
7 for a bird.
Oh, shit,
No,
car.
It's visual, so he's got advantage.
Okay.
13.
13. There you go.
Yeah.
He's looking for mites.
All right, so you're all keeping an eye out. Shakar doesn't find much in the area. Skuz and Gent, though. As you're on the roof, looking out, taking in your surroundings, you notice that the outside of what's a fairly wide now visible radius that has become overcast as opposed to being stormy, you see that it's almost like a line where this blizzard immediately starts back up at full force from what it was before the change weather happened. It's sort of a very obvious, as you're sort of looking at it, semicircle cut out of that storm.
Pretty abrupt boundary.
It's while you're looking at it that you watch as the head of a massive serpent-like entity just flows out of the blizzard into the clear weather area, gently turns and snakes back into the blizzard. As you watch, this is some sort of gargantuan entity that's flying through the blizzard at a very slow pace, with storms and lightning crackling off of its hide. Bits and pieces of it seem to be made of this blizzard that it's in, as it slips in and out of the core of this thing and then disappears back into the blizzard.
I love it. What can I roll to see if I know what it might be?
A nature check.
Yeah.
That should mean it's under level 18. I can.
It's not.
Damn it. Okay.
Oh, whoops. Well, it shouldn't have been an advantage, but I got a 9.
I got a 7. We're just like,
Wow.
that's amazing.
Well, that's impressive, isn't it?
Some breed of dragon, maybe? You have no idea.
It feels very Breath of the Wild, and I love it.
Big storm snake dragon thing. All right. Skuz, do you think that thing's causing the storm, or does it just like it?
Well, if the storm's clinging to it, I don't know. Both. It could be making the storm worse, which is not a bad thing for it, but a bad thing for us. I do not know. Nikki has no idea what this thing is.
Well,
So this is all speculation.
very much so. Well, I believe our efforts at scouting have borne fruit and bears reporting. What do you think?
Dragons reporting. No,
Yes.
there are no bears here.
You all watch as
n-
Shakar dives and comes back up with a rat. Just
Hell yeah! Food for Shakar. Excuse me, Nikki flubbed that for some reason.
all right.
good.
Well, let's get back inside and let people know that there's monsters about.
It could be friendly. We could try talking to it.
It could also just, like, to be fair, Valak doesn't know this, but it could also just be like ambient and neutral.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, like the dragons in Breath of the Wild, they're just like vibing. I love them.
Comes
so
back
much.
inside. So we've got some sort of storm snake dragon thing.
It was like going in and out of.
And
the-
about how
of the
far away was that
storm.
from us, John?
just about 5 miles.
Okay.
Sorry, to be clear, a storm snake dragon thing.
It had
Large
storms
or
on it.
Small or
Huge.
It was exceptionally large, about 5 miles away, coming in and out of the boundary of the storm system.
Vespia's
Aloft.
whole chest could ride on that dragon. So sorry. The cottage could fly on that dragon. It was huge.
Can any of us make any rolls to see if we can identify that based on description?
Yeah, nature
Kent
checks.
will
Also-
try and describe as
where
well
is
as possible.
Drummond during all this?
No,
Yeah.
I know about as much as Cuz does.
I think he's just sort of he's looking out, trying to get a view of it, I guess.
Okay, because
Um,
Shakar will land right in front of Drummond and lay the rat in front of him.
A present.
Kind of like and nudge it forward.
What have you got there? Look at that! Oh, what a clever bird you are. Do you want me to cook it up for you, or are you just sharing?
He acknowledges, I don't know, much about owls, but in the affirmative is a familiar. So yeah, he'll
Whew.
just keep nudging it forward.
So, but acknowledging the sharing thing.
Yeah. As soon as after a second, Ithram will turn and say, "Yes, he wants you to cook it."
Oh, fantastic. All right. Well, I'll reach down, pick it up, say, "Thank you, friend." And
He says he'll share.
do you want some now, or do you want to wait for me to make it a little bit more interesting for you?
He just wants it cooked whenever you have the time.
Right, of course.
So is anyone else rolling nature?
Sure.
I think I'm too distracted at the moment.
All right.
I'm having a great conversation.
And he'll light up on your shoulder and hang out.
Yep, that makes sense.
So yeah,
I have
most-
an out of game inkling what this is, but I think the other one who's going to know is Ithram.
So yeah, most of you, no idea. Ithram. You're sort of thinking about the description, thinking about the storm, thinking about what you experienced with the storm.
Mm-hmm.
And you think about your mother, the conjuration wizard,
Yeah.
who has told you stories about what she refers to as she's told you stories about elder elementals and how when they get to a certain age they stop obeying the rules of elementals, the sort of the vaguely contained forms or anything like that, and they just begin to get big as they embody more and more aspects of whatever elemental plane that they are from. Those aspects that bleed into the world as extreme weather phenomenon. These elementals begin to embody those. And so, as far as you can tell, based on that description, this would have to be an elder blizzard of some kind, some sort of snowstorm or blizzard elemental that has gotten to such a capacity that it has bled into the world in a way that it has become a natural phenomenon, this embodiment of a blizzard in Eastfeld.
Okay. It basically
So
found a thin spot to bleed through.
Basically, and where it sort of and manifested as this dragon-like entity, but also as the storm around it. Which,
And they're fairly benign so long as you don't fuck with them.
it depends on the
Or-
elemental. It depends on the
Okay,
elemental.
yeah.
Like elder,
An
Elder-
Elder Inferno would absolutely scorch everything around it.
Yeah.
yeah, an elder inferno or an elder volcano would absolutely just decide, you know what, lunchtime.
I know these things are called elders, but they are growing rapidly. They stop obeying rules. Are you sure these aren't teenage elementals?
Have you ever met a 70-year-old who gave any single fucks?
Elementals are
The
different.
ones that I know are
fundamental.
very, very into rules.
But the only way to know its temperament would be to get closer to it.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that it very definitely can tell that there's something hindering its storm, but didn't come in and destroy you, would seem to indicate that it's probably more of a neutral bent. But yeah, you would estimate that to be an elder blizzard of some kind.
Okay. Yeah.
It doesn't want to fuck with us if we don't fuck with it.
So long as we don't adversely affect more of the storm in any greater way. It didn't seem agitated when you saw it.
No, it seemed relatively calm. Maybe a little curious, but no, mostly. I mean,
It was just vibing.
most natural beings are attracted to boundaries. At least from a wildlife perspective. I don't know if this thing follows those same rules or not.
I believe the storm was more of an extension of it itself. And
Oh.
it was.
I was wondering.
Yes, it is. Sounds like a very old elemental that has bled through into this area. Very, very old.
Elementals, if I'm recalling correctly, tend to be like wine, better with age.
Yes. Better in the sense that more established.
All right.
I
So
have
let's
have
not
a-
run
Fire.
into that anytime soon.
For those of you that are curious, you have an image of the Elder Blizzard.
Where?
Well, I can do all sorts of fires and things.
Yeah, I can as well.
Do we think it might know?
It'll be in your handouts
where
folder in the journal.
Oh,
the Ever Ice? We never like Drummond. You didn't know what like pole it was at or anything.
Quetzalcoatl.
We could go and try and talk to him.
I
Only thing I know is it's from the Everglacier, but
do speak primordial, so I may be able to communicate with it. If I could get line of sight.
This is one of those things that comes to talk to you and starts with "Be not afraid."
I'm not.
I'm just saying, Quetzalcoatl. That's
Can I
that's what it
pet
looks like to
you?
me.
I mean, yeah, it would be described as a lung dragon or a winged serpent, one of the two. Which was
Love it.
Quetzalcoatl's a winged serpent. Typically, the wings are bigger on Quetzalcoatl, but yeah.
Yeah.
I was legit actually imagining, like Haku from the Spirited Away, just with clouds.
We
Are all
could
those
see if
paper-
it had ever
paper
heard of.
airplanes doing?
Where is it? Oh, there it
May
is.
not know like
I love it.
that is. It may not recognize the name. It may call it something else, but
I have seen these. These are in the
It
Mordecai
seems
and Tomb of
like-
Foes. That's right.
If it's possible to
hostile.
ask, I certainly don't want anyone to go to any to put themselves at risk, but it seems like it might be nice to ask.
I personally think we should avoid it entirely as much as possible.
I
I am
think
of the same bent.
if it comes anywhere near, we might try communication rather than just ignoring it. But let's avoid it if we can.
Oh man, can we say hello to Grandpa?
Who are you
Definitely one-
speaking of?
The the Elder Blizzard.
Right here.
No. Remember, Scouts, we're not on a sightseeing mission.
But not.
Although technically the exact purpose of this mission is to see what's going on up here.
Yes,
What
but that's a
is-
very pointed investigation of peril, not exactly a leisurely stroll just to see what we can see.
And
Oh, I
for
just
the
would say-
audience's sake, I have put the Elder Blizzard on screen just for a little bit.
We love it.
If we can continue travel without it noticing us, while we can keep an eye on it, that would be the best case scenario. But so long as we avoid it, I think that would be the best as well.
Alternate
did-
idea.
And I will say, Scuzz, I've found
Excuse me, we have someone who's been trying to speak.
It's all right. I'm mostly just making a joke, but alternate idea. I turn into a Tyrannosaurus Rex and go in for a hug.
But you had those tiny arms.
That's why I have to run in. It will understand.
It's a little big for a T-Rex hug.
It's gonna
No,
go like
there is nothing too big for a hug.
It's
It's,
true.
it's gargantuan.
You can
It's
You
a
still
big
hug
hug.
it.
You can hug Air's rock. Let's be honest.
We just become the little spoon, John. Everyone
Yes.
wants to be the little spoon.
But
You were saying, Grummond?
Grummond was saying.
Sorry.
no, I'm sure it wasn't important. I don't remember what it was.
Had it, lost it. All right.
Grummond,
Well, we
Grummond, do
will-
you want to? Oh, I keep interrupting you.
No, it's fine.
Please
we-
talk
we-
about important things.
We don't have long before the storm kicks back in, so we should probably get inside, stay inside, and get ready for resting and moving on in the morning. You are not coming through again, Mara.
Damn it. Okay. It just seems to me that as we're crossing the world, finding all of these things to do what we need to do, we're coming across powerful beings that we can at least make contact with.
Potentially, but
Ask for assistance. It might not have noticed that, weird demonic stuff is happening way far to the south in places that it's not connected to and doesn't really care about, but maybe it has, and maybe it'll care, and maybe it can help us.
I mean, a thing that big that has that sort of magic just vibing in it probably might know about negative energies in the Boneyard.
That too.
I'm gonna
I
give
can
you
send it to.
I'm gonna give you an approximate size, just because I think it's fun.
Yes, please. Smash. Yeah, again, little spoon.
That's the approximate size, as far as you can tell, of the Elder Blizzard.
That looks like an
miles upon
approximately
miles of
good hugger.
blizzard.
Is that the storm or the entity specifically?
Both.
Okay.
Is this something that we feel like even would care about the affairs of mortals down below it?
What role would that be of, hey, how likely is your average world-shattering elemental going to give a fuck about this demigod that's trying to, get a promotion?
It's a legit question. Like, is it intelligent even?
I bet it would.
Nature or religion check.
You know what? I shouldn't speak.
Can I make an argument for Arcana, since wizard and elementals?
Not in this case, mainly because Arcana would be more the substance of an elemental as opposed to the personality of an elemental.
Okay.
I did it again.
19 on religion.
15 on nature.
13 on nature.
23 on religion.
There you
Hell
go.
yeah.
Nice.
All right.
Love having another smart person around.
15.
Hey, I'm smart, just not learned. There's a difference.
Fair enough.
Okay, so go for the religion bent first. Ghent and Vespia. The way Ghent, what you saw, and Vespia, what was described, is very similar to things that you have both read about before in certain cultural aspects of worship. There are various cultures around Gran Terra and Vespia in other material planes that worship beings that seem godlike, like this elder elemental, in which functionally are godlike to a certain extent. They're immortal. They control the weather. They shape the world around them. And typically, those sort of religious beliefs involve sort of give the idea that you pray to these beings for protection from the world around you, as opposed to from specific entities. They don't tend to be very active directly, and they're not the kind of god that those cultures interface with directly. It's mostly that's a big snake in the blizzard. It's probably a god. Let's pray to it so it doesn't eat us, kind of thing. Sin, Scuzz, not Ithram. Sin and Scuzz, the two of you, Elementals tend to be intelligent, until except for the very, very small ones. Elementals tend to be intelligent. They tend to be sapient, sentient sentient creatures that can obey commands, that can be bound to commands. Elder ones tend to be beyond that sort of control. If you summon an elder elemental, it goes bad for you, not for the elemental. There's certainly a possibility of talking to it. Whether or not what its temperament would be, you can only assume, inferring based on its element. It's probably going to be fairly even or cool-tempered, not likely to get heated very easily, not likely to make rash decisions or jump to certain judgments. Very likely a methodical individual, as far as you can tell, based on the idea that elementals tend to have personality attributes that sort of
Reflect
embody
their element.
or reflect their element. Yeah.
Smarter than your average humanoid, certainly, but with the temperament of and the will of literally the nature that it embodies. Love that for them. I still want to pet it.
You're muted, Jack.
We know, Scuts.
There's also the concern that just being near the thing might be hazardous to our health.
Well, weren't we in it before?
No, like near the actual embodiment of it. Like if we get near that snake, it might not even be aggressive to us, but just by being near it, we might be in danger.
Well, we don't have to. Again, we can just avoid it. But if, I think if we got close to it, I don't think it would blizzard us right off the bat.
Just need line of sight, and I can try to communicate with it. I don't know.
What am I talking about? You
you
should absolutely try.
turn to Titania. Do you speak primordial as well?
No, I don't. I can speak Sylvan and Druidic. I can leave a note for it, basically.
Grumman kind of raises his hand in the background.
Oh.
Yes.
I picked up a bit here and there. I could probably talk to it.
Picked up a bit. He speaks literally every language.
Yeah.
If we're concerned about our safety, I could send it a message asking for safe passage at the very least, and its answer would give us an idea of how receptive it would be to communication.
Like that.
That's a
idea.
thought.
So we'll keep an eye out, and then Ithram.
Yeah, I can go hang out at the door and wait for it to see if it snakes through the border again before the spell wears off.
Sounds good.
And
Just be careful.
I'll stay with you just in case we have an opportunity for more conversation. I'll split my time between that and cooking up your friend's rat.
I will stay with you as well.
All right, but when the storm starts coming back, get back inside. We don't need you freezing out there.
oh yes. Yeah, I mean, just gonna go hang out at the door, wait to see if it snakes through again, and just, is there any other question besides, or any other statements we want to make in the initial message besides requesting safe passage to this area to the north?
Let's not stop asking for help immediately. Let's introduce ourselves and just try and.
We could ask it if it noticed anything. Any negative energy. If you want.
elementals aren't necessarily political creatures, but it really doesn't matter who you're talking to. You don't really want to introduce yourself as someone vastly more powerful than you as an individual and start asking questions that it might not want to answer or making demands of it. I think just starting with introducing ourselves and asking if we are safe to pass would be ideal.
See where it goes from there.
Mm-hmm.
Seems appropriately respectful, cautious. I like it.
Write down a little speech.
To whom it may
Well,
concern.
yeah. No. But yeah, he'll hang out until that happens. If anybody wants to do anything else.
I want to cook the rat.
Are you gonna make ratatouille?
No, there's no rat in it. No, he will.
Maybe the
he'll-
way
spin on that
you
movie.
make
And
it.
so before Ithram steps out, Shakar wants his half charred, just absolutely charred, because he's a fire elemental.
Okay. All right.
So
all right.
yeah.
Yeah. So he will skin it, clean it, divide it up bilaterally, because he doesn't know which parts Shakar likes the best. And we'll grill one half and just charbroil the other half and give it and we'll while that's cooking, he's gonna make a like a pepper and mango sauce for it to kind of glaze it, and we'll ask Shakar if he wants that on there.
Sure.
Okay. All right. So it will have a real blackened caramelized glaze burnt onto the half for Shakar.
I was gonna say, yeah, it makes it blackened.
How do you like your rat? Crunchy.
Yeah.
The crust of the earth. Crunchy.
Oh, and you're a fire elemental bird.
Yep.
Okay, so you are hanging out the window, basically, keeping an eye out.
Hmm.
After about an hour, you see movement on the edge of the storm. And
Okay.
once again, this massive lung dragon-esque serpent head
We're all
pokes out of
poking
the
our
storm,
head out to look at this thing.
rotates and twists, spirals back around, and then back into the blizzard.
Okay. As it goes back into the blizzard, I'm gonna cast sending.
Okay.
Let's see. I'm just counting out the words real quick.
What was the name of your first bird, Ithram?
Mal.
Mal? Okay.
Yeah. Mal Hagar.
Malhugger.
Mm-hmm. He was a bad hugger. The word limit is so fun.
25 words.
And finding myself accidentally counting syllables. I'm gonna have to use that spell.
All right. It's 21 words. So I got 4 extra.
All right.
Add some
I'll-
emojis.
Yeah. Yeah. Be thumbs up and smiley faces.
Snowflake, heart.
Yeah, snowflake, heart, hug.
Uh-huh.
Okay, hand,
lightning
crying
bolt.
emoji, 100 emoji.
Yeah,
you
so
just like
cast
football
cast
rules.
sending, and the message is, greetings, Maelstrom of the North. I come as a representative of the Steel Hearts, and we seek safe passage through your storm. May we continue.
And this is in Primordial, assumedly.
Yes, yes, this is in Primordial.
Back in Primordial, you hear. Oh, it has been some time since I entreated with supplicants.
Hmm.
Your name.
You really gonna make you burn those sendings, aren't they?
And we're resting, so.
This
He
is a
doesn't know you're
collect
casting.
call.
He doesn't know you're casting sending.
And I mean, you've seen him now, so you can just sending to him anyway. From any
Yeah.
These sendings cost me 89 cents per word, sir.
I have a shit plan right now.
I don't got rollover.
Hang on. Let's see. So yeah, I'll turn back and say, good news. It is receptive to communication. Don't know how to take this news. May expect us to be some form of supplicant to it. It may require some form of
That's sort of a thing that's
payment.
That's sort of a thing to be expected
Passage.
with ancient and powerful creatures. They sort of see everything that's smaller than them as supplicant to them in a lot of situations. So treat it as it goes, and we'll handle it as it comes.
All right.
Do you have an idea of what this payment would be?
So far, he's just asking my name, or it's just asking my name.
All right.
So yeah, I will use another sending and say, I am known as Ithram. What may we call you? And if you speak out loud, I will still be able to hear you.
You get a sense of amusement back, along with his words, as if the fact that you would be able to hear him if he chose to speak out loud was obvious. Well, Ithra, you speak with Yokulamur, elemental lord of the North Wind, and ruler of Eastfeld. Traditionally, those who entreat offer dinner. And I'll get that spelling in chat momentarily.
Yes, thank you. I'm glad
Grumman.
I spelled it the same way, Jack.
I do it phonetically by pronunciation most of the time, and then I just wait for John to correct me. Yep.
Yeah.
You actually got almost right.
Yeah, just the prefix wrong. So how's it going?
Did it reply out loud, or did it just?
No, that was all via the sending.
Okay, all right. It said typically it introduced itself as Yokulamur. It is the current ruler of Eastfeld. It's proclaimed. I'm not going to argue.
good plan.
But it said typically when entreating the ruler, dinner is offered. I'm gonna rack my brain for
I was gonna
what do
say.
ancient elemental, what do elementals
That's where
in
Gent's
general?
going to.
Make
Well,
me
I've
a
got
nature-
half this rat left.
This one could be an Arcana check.
Shikar knew the whole time. This would be an
24.
Arcana check.
Yeah.
Tends, I mean,
27.
every setting is
21.
different, but it tends to be rare for elementals to literally just eat people because if they're not just angry at them.
All four of you instantly know elementals don't eat.
Yeah, that's when.
Though to be fair, again, elder elementals break rules.
Ithram, you do know he didn't say food or sacrifice.
Yeah, I said dinner.
He said dinner, which has additional implications beyond food.
Yeah, just like a welcome meeting and a like ceremony rather than like just food.
Invite
Yeah,
him inside.
I can cast.
Arguing with family
I can
over
cast reduce
politics?
on him and get him in here, and we got muffins.
I don't know if he'll fit in Vespia's chest.
If there's a will, there's a
Oh, it's-
way.
It's pretty large.
It is.
That's quitter talk.
Oh my god, you guys.
So
Jack has to leave now because of our childishness. Are we going to invite the dragon for dinner? Friends for dinner.
I mean, I'm not going to do the control weather because it won't like that probably, but I can go outside as an animal.
Why?
I can certainly get cooking.
Ooh, I can help. Scuzz brings out his
Would-
plate.
would an elder elemental be? Is there like any instance of an elemental after a certain point being able to assume more humanoid forms and travel?
Make a nature check.
Okay. 22.
You don't know, but elemental forms are by their nature inconsistent.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be surprising if it could. This one's part blizzard, part dragon. Maybe it can also become a humanoid.
It's gonna make a simulacrum of itself.
It turns into a snowman. Frosty the Snowman is just an eldritch. Not
Yeah.
eldritch, elder blizzard. Ithram, I'm so sorry. Did Ithram say earlier that his mom had spoken about the rituals and the stories about elder elementals?
Yeah, he would have said where he learned it from.
Did your mom ever talk about what an elemental might mean by dinner?
No, they generally, while on the material plane, they're sustained by whoever summoned them. And when they're on their own home plane, they generally do not need sustenance.
Well, we've
Is
only
he
used
lost?
we've only used 2 spells so far, so if this breaks into a fight, we're not completely out of options. But
The option is to run.
fair. But I think at this point it's aware of us, so we
Yes.
might as well invite it to treat with us.
Just to be clear, because I missed part of the conversation. Did we ask clarification on what dinner would be to it?
Not yet.
I mean, I would definitely say ask for the clarification on that because
Yes.
we're not familiar with it. It's only to be expected.
Would it be considered impolite to ask for clarification?
It depends on how you word it.
You want to word this question, Velvet? I'm not politically inclined.
Don't
All
go
right.
with don't approach and say, "Hey, what the fuck's dinner, asshole?"
You want chicken nuggets or what?
Chicken nuggies and chalky milk.
I would not ask
It
if
wants
it
a-
enjoyed rat.
Cindy does want to dine on nugget.
Huh. Phew. It's very difficult to word this kind of thing to a very large elemental. We're unfamiliar with what one such as yourself might partake as dinner, but we are happy to treat with you if you would like to join us.
Okay.
Do you have any favorite dishes?
It's your idea of entertainment.
1 second.
Ooh, telling me it would be an honor to prepare his favorite meal.
Yes. That is way better. So, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I'll cast sending and repeat that.
Which
What?
one? Which version?
What? Sorry. Hang on. Sorry, the brain fart.
No worries. Big snake causes brain problems.
So I have I have 18-word message so far. I'll run it by the group before I send it. We would be honored to treat the ruler of Eastfeld to dinner. What would be your preferred offering? And I have 7 words to spare.
That sounds perfect.
Mhm.
That is the message I send.
Do you have a line on Rhymeworm?
What?
No matter. When I knock, answer.
All right, I will relay that. I'll head back inside. They are going to knock soon. Does anybody know what rhymeworm is?
Rhyme.
I mean, based on the sound, it's a snow worm.
Can I?
Also from an elemental.
Is that nature?
Yeah, nature.
Nature.
I'll try it again. I've not succeeded on any nature roll so far, but maybe one.
11.
I mean, it's not like you're playing a class that's oriented towards nature or anything. It's fine.
I got an 18 that time. Yes.
Yeah.
I got
Nine.
a 5.
I gotta
My
see
nature
it.
luck continues.
They're probably some sort
Fine.
of poetry worm.
You can't help it, Jeremy. It's in your nature. I'm gonna go now.
I'm so proud of you.
Yeah.
You did good. Proud of you.
Oh, that
Um,
was. Mm.
so
Look at all these single
Did
digits.
bad, and you should feel bad.
Ithram,
Whiteberg, settle down.
Ithram and Titania,
Yeah.
you both know. Ithram, you sort of ask the question and then you think about it and you do that thing where it's like, oh wait, no, I know this. Rhyme worms are large elemental beings, but not the same kind of an elemental like what the elemental lord would be. They are basically big ice slugs that burrow into ice and sort of exist in particularly Arctic tundra, Arctic climates like this one. They're typically known to be kept by frost giants as like pets or guards.
Okay. So they're like big earthworms for tundras.
Massive.
They burrow
Yacked.
into-
I mean, I would say they're the snow version of sandworms. It sounds like.
Oh yeah.
No, they're much more like worms. Kind of a misnomer. They really look more like leeches or slugs.
Okay.
But big and made of ice.
They have flesh. They
Ah.
exist in ice.
Eastern Plagueland style. Got it.
Are there any outside?
Not as far as you know.
Okay.
Do we need to go out and walk on the tundra in a rhythmic pattern?
That
I mean, to be fair, he asked that as sort of a joke and then said no matter.
yes.
So
Okay. We might be getting in the weeds a little bit on this one then.
Yes, if we're ever here again, we'll keep it in the back pocket as some inside knowledge.
So, what do you all do in preparation for your dinner guest?
I suppose if you made the joke about Rhymeworm, elementally ice attuned food, if we have any of it, would probably be a good offering of some sort.
We have the bay here. It's more electrical in nature, but it is sort of storm-like.
He did exhibit sort of lightning characteristics, I think, a bit. Yes, right?
Storm E.
Thought we saw.
You can have lightning in a snowstorm. You want to see if I can summon a snow E feast with my plate?
I mean, you can certainly try. And yes, Behir meat would probably be the closest thing we've got to something good. Air and
I don't
cold
think it's
are
been
not
long
typically-
enough for the plate to be ready again.
When's the
We-
last time we used it?
Like 2 days ago.
Oh,
Not even
All
2
right, it
days
was
ago.
it
before
does
we
not
did
feel
go.
like 2 days.
A
It
day
did not
ago,
feel like
actually, because it was before the.
I was gonna say it was last night.
Yeah.
I'm gonna spend 1
Yesterday,
minute.
you went to the Titan's Head, snuck past the war outside it, fought through the Guardians on the Seal, teleported to Mage King Kestrel, fought Mage King Kestrel, fought the Dread Titan Madiri, won, then rested, and now it's the next day.
This
It
guy
was a
literally tries to
rich
pull out
full
his
day.
plate and he tries to open it and he's like, it's not working. And then someone's like, yeah, because it like you need to wait like a week. And he's like, it hasn't been a week.
Yes, air and cold are not necessarily opposed elements, so Behir meat would likely be a good offering if we have nothing ice aligned.
Well, I'll do it as a ceviche then. Get it as cold as I can.
A gazpacho.
And I will start prepping a meal kind of around that concept. So yeah, so sort of a over ice with citrus juice to cook it, which I think will give it a real bite along with the electrical nature of the meat.
How is this cottage heated?
Naturally.
Magic.
That down.
There's
I
always
believe
a fire in the fireplace.
I believe the description was that it is always the perfect temperature for you as an individual.
Oh, okay. Never mind then.
It's always the perfect temperature for you to be comfortable.
Excellent.
And I get advantage on cooking in here, right?
Yes. Advance
I
on any chef's tools check that you make.
26.
Ooh.
I don't know.
Not only do you make exceptionally good bear hair meat, if any of you eat it, using the rest of the bear hair meat, in addition to the d6 extra lightning damage you do on melee attacks, you also have resistance to lightning damage.
Nice, but let's let the elemental get its fill before any of us have any of it.
Did
Is
we
it-
want to try to learn anything else about
If the
Golden War?
opportunity arises to glean any extra information, we can take it, but let's not be impolite.
No, I mean before they arrive.
Do we want to dress up nice?
Do you
I can.
Yes.
I
you have
can
the
swap.
capacity to legend lore this creature?
Yes.
That might be helpful.
I have one last expense of materials.
And you can get more from the griffin pouch if you need it.
Yes. Then yeah, I'll spend 1 minute swapping out sending for legend lore, and then 10 minutes casting legend lore with Yakulamor as the object of, or the focus of the spell.
All right. You succeed. While this is happening, while Grumman is cooking, still, because it's gonna take Grumman a little while to finish that meal
Yeah.
there. Yakuramor, you learn, is an ancient elemental. Not just elder, ancient. Who has lived in Eastfeld for years uncounting. Typically revered by the nomadic cultures that make their living within Eastfeld. Whenever his blizzard rolls by, it's typically seen as a basically a holiday in a certain instance where you're not going to go out and work, so you might as well have feasts and festivals. And it seems that within these festivals is where Yokulamor sort of found his interest. It is said that Yokulamor will wander amongst feast halls of the various tribes of northern Eastfeld, partaking of dinner and entertainment and fine company, and in exchange for an entertaining evening will offer various blessings or assistance or knowledge, depending on what is sought. Yakulamor is referred to by the local populace as both the Lord of the North Wind and also the Wise Man of the Blizzard. I'm trying to think of all the things that legend lore gives you.
You can throw it up in chat if you want to.
Yeah, go ahead.
And sorry, it was the Wise Man of the Wizard or
Wise Man of the Blizzard.
Blizzard. Wizard, lizard, blizzard. And
Whatever you
The
do,
northern-
please do not call him the wise man of the lizard. Don't do it. Don't do it.
I support doing it.
King Blizzard and the Wizard Lizard.
Yes.
My favorite children's book.
We baked you this bear
Let's see.
gizzard.
And common wisdom of Eastfeld is be respectful, be kind.
Dress warm?
Because like like unto a blizzard, if you disrespect the Lord of the North Wind, you may find yourself and your land and holdings buried under several dozen feet of snow and ice. And he might just kill you, but who knows.
Scuzz, do you want a bow tie? I can tie a mean bow tie. Dress up.
Yes.
Okay.
If
I
Ska's
love-
like the most enormous bow tie that just stretches out to here.
Absolutely.
I love Titania's non sequiturs. She's like, it's like, he might just kill you. Skuz, do you want a bow tie?
I mean, Skuz is also like frantically making Titania the most like Persephone-esque flower crown ever.
Excellent. Okay.
Ken's gonna go upstairs and get changed into something a bit more formal.
I'll put on a clean apron.
Vespia
Dashing.
will likewise go upstairs and change into one of her nicer dresses.
So Wilson.
A little black dress.
Yeah,
Sorry,
no,
I,
Did you know?
I was just-
yeah.
I was just talking about Spice World and Posh Spice's little black dresses, and that's all I can think about now.
And no, Gent comes back out wearing something that Titania and Valdeth probably haven't seen him in the better part of 2 years. Because he's been adventuring the entire time. But yeah, no, it's his old House Minar formal wear.
Valdeth will go.
He's ready
put
for a
on-
party, basically.
Valdeth will go put on the accoutrement of the Jarl of House Stonebeard.
Skuz goes around
Or,
snapping.
sorry, no,
everything
she's
clean.
the Thane now, of the Thane of House Stonebeard.
Yeah.
No dust, no dust, no dust. No dust, no
Yeah,
dust.
no, comes. It's got the double-breasted jacket, cut pants, the fancy boots, all that sort of shit. He's apparently hauled it around with him this whole time. There's a couple creases in there that could use an iron, but we don't have one of those.
Iron it out. Prestidigitation, iron it out.
Thank you, Scott.
Of note, because Valdeth's been gone for a while, and this is the first time anyone would have seen her in the garb of a Thane of House Stonebeard, because she doesn't wear it normally. The Thane's garb is a combination of ceremonial armor and also like highly ornamented, like not quite robe, but not quite just like leather. It's sort of extensive tabard that like rests around like mid-knee, and then these very like well-worked gold and silver like metal armbands and gloves with a circlet with a violet gem set in the forehead. And the tabard has the clenched fist of Stonebeard on the front of it.
Valdeth, would you like a shine?
If you don't mind.
Shine.
You wear it quite well, love.
Does anyone want their hair greased back?
Vespia has done her hair up in some
Again,
elaborate.
Kind of tucks his hair behind his ear and looks mildly affronted.
Yeah, I think I'm out of my pomade. I could go for a good greasing.
Sorry, Sis pulls out butter, but then I forget that he has the actual spell grease. We're not using that though.
Cast grease on your hair.
Much grace.
Look, for some
that'd be
people
very
that is
bad,
the for some people
considering
that is
that-
the proper amount of grease to use for hair.
Well,
So
it would be very
There's
bad
a
considering that
Drummond-
Grumman works in the kitchen.
Right. Drummond starts singing Summer Lovin' for no reason.
Is anyone else doing anything particular to prepare?
oh my god, grease in the hair, cooking behear meat. It's grease lightning. Let's go.
There you go. There you go.
Oh, grease lightning.
Which just with much less John Travolta.
As is reasonable.
All right. So, Grumman finishes cooking. The rest of you finish your preparations. As at roughly that time, you notice that you can't see anything outside the windows anymore.
This is fine.
It's like a company might be getting here.
It looks like, based on the light that you have from inside, that just snow has piled up high enough that it's blocked out all the windows. And if any of you go to the second floor and look out, it's actually blocked out the windows on the second floor too.
It's fine. Oh no, how is our guest gonna get in?
Is he going to fit inside?
I mean, supposedly, if Ithram relayed the legend lore,
Yeah, he would.
supposedly he wanders the feast halls of the native tribes, and I don't know that they build them large enough for a miles-long dragon. So presumably he can change his form.
And then there is
I hope so.
on the door.
Ithram, you're the one who's spoken to him. Would you like to get the door?
Yes, I will I'll go over and I'll get the door.
All right. You open the door, and standing just tall enough that he has to duck to get inside is a rime-encrusted humanoid with wild, spiky hair and a beard, with a fairly gaunt-looking physique, pale skin, these sort of crystalline blue eyes that sort of regards everyone around with the same image that an eagle would look at a mouse. Though with less, no malice, just the understanding that could eat you at any point in time. With sort of a spear made entirely of ice in one hand, and what looks like a large dead slug hanging over its shoulder. It has bits of ice encrusted on it.
Oh, you brought one.
Leans in, looks around. Well, there are more of you than I expected, but no matter. I brought this in case you didn't have a line on it. And he sort of steps in. He sort of actually waits to be invited in.
Yeah.
Ithram
Does he speak that in common, by the way?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I will welcome them in motion for him to take a step inside, and please come in.
He steps in, and you can all sort of see that he's wearing what looks like fairly utilitarian hide trousers, some leather boots with some with some sort of serpentine styling to it. Leather pauldron on one shoulder with straps that go across a bare chest that contains more of this sort of rime-covered blue, sort of bluish-colored hair. Big fur cloak hanging down the back with what looks like some sort of large tusk of some kind over one shoulder. Steps in. Every step, even though he seems fairly, he is very much contained. Each step just about reverberates the house as he steps in. Reaches over, sort of like slings this slug off of his shoulder, hand, and sort of indicates it towards the kitchen.
Yeah.
We made something of our own for you, but
Yes.
our talented chef will prepare something excellent for that.
Grumman has rushed forward to grab the rime worm,
Let's
and is
go.
already looking over and
It's
dashing
heavy.
off.
It's heavy.
Um,
You
Okay,
imagine this. You imagine there's probably a good 400 pounds of meat on this thing.
he is coming over. I think he probably will need a hand with that. But we'll come over with a drink in hand and exchange that if the elemental will take it.
No, he'll take the drink.
Valdeth will help Grumman get the rime worm into the kitchen.
Great. All right. He will take it over and basically we'll start to poach. I guess kind of like a giant lobster. We'll sort of approach it, starting to poach it and get it out of the crusty, ice encrusted shell.
Would you like assistance?
Of course. Let's see what we can make of this. The drink is like a ginger infused vodka with a little orange liqueur, a little bit of lemon juice, and it's a dash of bitters, and then mixed with in a glass, and there are snowdrop flowers mixed with like a pink salt around the rim.
Jeremy, are you at
Yes.
this point where you can, if you
Yeah,
want to describe
yeah.
what you look like now?
So Sin has come down. They're an Air Genasi. They look just a little bit out of sorts at the moment, like quieter than usual. I think probably best. They have sort of cobbled together an outfit from what they have of other personas. Sort of a trench coat, like a scarf, um, uh, just a pair of breeches, boots, sort of longish hair, all very, very sort of a pale blue, and are just sort of keeping back for now, staying quiet.
So he sort of surveys the building interior. Ah, this is a marvelous cottage you have here. Hadn't noticed the construction myself. Swills the glass, drains it.
It is as cold as Grumman could possibly make it.
Nice and warm. And he puts the glass down.
A motion to the table where the some of the food's already set out. If you'd like to take a seat.
Certainly. We'll say you like put the biggest chair somewhere.
Yeah. Well, so here's the thing though. Since I have spell mastery now, and the spell that I have the spell that I can, one of them that I can do that for now is enlarge reduce. I can just make one of the chairs bigger, more comfortable for them. If it's that much of a difference.
That would definitely help.
Okay, yeah, I do that. And
you can cast that spell for free constantly.
Yes.
So you can make sure it's always larger.
Just every about 45 seconds, he just flicks his wrist and it stays big.
So Grummond, you are tackling this brand new, exciting ingredient you've never had a chance to work with a gusto. With the 29 on the cooking utensils. And he'll sit down in that enlarged chair, which is at that point large enough for him to sit comfortably in it. And as he walks over to it at your invitation, he sort of lets go of that spear of ice, and it just vanishes. And he sort of settles himself into the chair. So, introductions all around. As I'm sure you've been made aware, I am your Kulamur, the Lord of the North Wind. Though,
indeed,
in this form, you may call me Yokul.
It is a pleasure to meet you, Yokul. My name is Valda Stonebeard, Thane of House Stonebeard of Everstone, of the Shattered Isles, and I am the captain of the mercenary company that you see before you, the Steelhearts, and I will let my companions introduce themselves.
I'll start. I am Ithrim, we spoke before. I am mage in service of the Steelhearts and a member of the Duskreach Legion to the south. Far south.
Desolation.
Correct.
I'm
Go ahead.
Titania Valkorian. Druid of the Circle of Grim Harvest out of Taram, and former princess.
I've met a Valkorian before.
Oh, which one?
Charming woman. Brava, I believe.
Oh, yeah, it's my grandmother. Maybe. Could have been. Depends on how long ago that was. Nice to meet you.
It's been some time.
Aura, nice to meet you.
Sort of nods towards you.
I am Vespia, a friend of the Steelhearts and a seeker for the True Library.
Venturing far outside the astral plane.
Yes.
Against the last person who isn't in the kitchen right now.
Oh, that's right. We've got other people in the kitchen. I'm Gent, last heir of the fallen house of Minar of Taram.
Minar. I've heard that name before. Can't place it, though.
We have ancestry going back to ancient core.
Hmm. It's been quite a while. He'll look over towards because the kitchen's like in the kitchen is visible from where he's at, so he'll turn and look into the kitchen.
So I guess Grumman will sort of lean around one of the posts or something just to associate a face with the voice and say, "Nice to meet you, Grumman Bellmender, tavern keeper, retired." And I will say that in, I mean, as much of it is not just his name, he'll say that in, I guess, Aran, whatever dialect of Primordial it sounds like he speaks.
Yeah, he's been speaking in Common this whole time.
Okay.
So you haven't heard him speak in Primordial yet?
I'll take a shot, I guess, and do Primordial with a little bit of a Aran lilt.
Sure. He'll nod.
How good is your RN accent?
Scuzz is. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No. Do that flavor text. Do it.
No, it's like tourism book. You get the sense he knows how to ask air elementals where the bathroom is, kind of deal.
Habla español. Scuzz's head pops literally out like underneath Grumman's, and it's like, Scuzzum old buckets, from Bucket Street. Nice to meet you, sir.
That's a handsome bow tie.
Oh yeah, all goblins are named after the street they're born on. Oh, thank you. My friend Titania made it for me. She's the greatest. Everybody here is really great. Please don't eat us. Okay, and Scuzz tucks back in.
I really thought Scuzz was gonna be like, she's that one.
No, she already did her introduction. I don't need to do her introduction for her.
Oh,
You
and
can hear.
Annabelle.
Why am I forgetting Alana's character's name?
Yeah, Annabella will introduce herself.
My name's Annabella. Don't forget. Sorry, that's not at all how she would do it.
He does
100%
have
in the kitchen with us, though.
Yeah, he does
Probably.
have a. It's the head that pops out above Grumman's head.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So you have the full
exactly.
3-stack image.
Yes.
Scooby-Doo
he-
trifecta.
He seems vaguely amused at the insinuation that he might eat the group of you.
As a small, it's not unlikely that things have tried to eat him before. For lesser.
Grummond, as you're cooking with the 29 again, you're cooking the rime worm. You're finding that there's actually as heavy as it is. It seems like a lot of that mass is sort of frozen, like is sort of ice internalized, either from just its nature or whatever it's or from its habitat. But as you're sort of like boiling away the ice to try to get at the actual meat, this seems much more like a the meat is very, 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 very tender. It's not yeah, it's once you actually get to it, it seems very, very soft, almost like it just sort of could peel away. So you feel like you probably have to cook it very lightly, not using a whole lot of heat, not using a whole lot of oil or additions. The large amount of the flavor on this is going to be in how you prepare it, sort of basically how you prepare it and what you prepare it with, because the meat itself is going to be very, very light.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I was going to probably like poach it or parboil it to start, almost like. Am I wrong in thinking that it's almost like a scallop or lobster type consistency?
Much more closer to like a scallop. Yeah, as far as consistency goes.
Okay. Well, we got a lot of that good yak butter. So we'll put that to use. And I think go for a little a little in the way of heat here. Not, I mean, flavor heat, spiced heat, not temperature heat per se.
Yeah. You do get the sense that, yeah, like I said, if you heat this meat too much, it'll probably just evaporate.
Right.
It's like Wagyu.
Yeah. So more of a sear on the outside just to stop it from falling apart.
Yeah.
And then let it stay as is. And then it's probably even the parboiling and the poaching in a well-seasoned pot of water.
Yeah.
In terms of meat, you make it blue, which is appropriate for the situation.
Right.
So, as the food has already been set out and he's sat at the table, did the rest of you that aren't cooking take seats at the table as well?
Yes.
Drummond will stay standing to continue to bring drinks and plates and things like that.
Just go sit down.
He doesn't have sleeves to speak of, just these large, gnarled, muscled arms. And he sort of rests on the table in front of him, leans forward, very, very unformal. As you look at him, aside from like the wild man hair, he looks almost like a Goliath, as far as you all are concerned, like sort of
Goliath.
like humanoid, like almost like if you took a frost giant and shrunk it down.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Kind of physique.
Yeah.
Okay.
So was someone trying to say something? No? Okay. And so he'll lean forward and look at the group of you. Well then, reaches forward, pulls a plate. As he pulls a plate, he'll sort of manifest a fork and knife out of ice and begins to eat the food in front of him that's been prepared. So, you wish to pass through my lands? Of course. The lands of Eastfeld are themselves difficult, but you've made it so far on your own. I suspect some of you have questions for me, information you'd like to gather. Am I far off the mark?
No,
Not at
sir.
all.
I think that's a fair bet to say.
Well then, dinner is commenced. Conversation to be had. Ask your questions.
How old are you?
I spawned off of a glacier in the elemental plane of ice. Before this material plane had formed for its current iteration.
So you gotta chip off the old iceberg.
Something like that.
During this conversation, Gent is mostly going to be watching Nicole, see if he can start to get some insight into his bent, what sort of things catch his humor or interest specifically, what sort of things he might be opposed to or find himself in opposition against, things like that. Vibe check, kinda.
Vibe check.
/ motivations.
Give me an insight check.
That as well.
This guy turns to Valdeth.
Meanwhile,
Okay, I warmed him up for you.
I say Valdeth. Well, Valdeth will ask the question that's probably the most obvious one. Are you at all familiar with our destination? Perhaps the ancient lich yard to the northeast on the coast.
Yes. I'm familiar with all the lands of Eastfeld. You go to a place where death once reigned, and to an extent continues to.
We
I'm
go
assuming
there
that-
to.
Imagine
and,
so.
just- and I just check. I'm assuming these insight checks are being made for like information gathering during the conversation.
Yeah. Yeah. Over the
Check,
course.
Jeremy.
I literally just said I imagine that to be the case.
We go there to investigate a warning we've received of a grave threat who left a scar there. Would you know much of that event?
An apocalyptic one, really.
I recall that mage in his tower venturing forth some time ago, and then returning more injured than before. I'm afraid I don't pay attention much to the conflicts therein of beings such as he. His stories are less interesting to me.
I imagine they would be rather dry.
So why would you?
But while we ask information of you, would you like us to regale you with tales of our own adventures, perhaps?
Please do. One-sided conversations are dreadfully boring. Wouldn't you agree?
Indeed. Any good conversation over a feast should walk a myriad of topics.
Indeed.
Do you want to see me turn into a ghost?
Yes, actually.
I'm so sorry.
The potty trick.
Valda, did you actually want to do something much more like sensible for dinner before I pulled this out?
I mean, you're welcome to do your thing, but I was going to tell stories and ask questions. So
Nikki actually just felt really bad for stepping over William doing something cool with his character. So if you actually want to do that first before Scuzz does his dumb thing, please do your thing first. Please be cool to this dragon dude before Scuzz ruins it.
But yeah, Valdeth will, in her traditional fashion, sort of tell stories of the adventures of the Steelhearts from its founding as a small mercenary group in Taram to the various levels of existential threat that they have battled over the course of their adventures, from quelling a demon incursion that was plaguing her own home city to the ancient bones of a fallen titan, etc., sort of telling an aggrandized. It doesn't really have to exaggerate a lot because their story is legitimately insane. History of the Steelhearts, basically.
For flavor, Scuzz turns into a ghost.
There's an attempt at a dramatic soundtrack from Grumman with drums.
Go ahead and give me either performance or persuasion. Valdeth.
All right. Would my code of honor apply in this?
Yes.
Cool. So I get advantage.
And could Valdeth have advantage because of the awesome soundtrack and the cool special effects provided by Scuzz?
Code of honor already gives them advantage.
Okay.
You said
Double
either
advantage.
persuasion or performance?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go with persuasion because I'm actually proficient in that. 22.
222.
Roll 20, get your shit together.
So, for those that rolled insight, we'll start with Gent. As the conversation goes on, you sort of get he seems to be a very active listener. He seems to be interested in what's going on. You are having a rough time reading him. And it's not that he's being deceptive to any degree, so much as it is he is such an alien entity to the people that you are used to reading that you have no idea what any of it means.
He's literally an elemental being of ice. He could be as stone-faced as he wants to be.
It's this odd, like, he talks in a jovial manner, but has a serious look on his face and a growl in his voice. Like he has that look in his eyes, like you are all prey, but he does not address any of you in any disrespectful manner. It's odd and very difficult to read. Because
I feel like Gent has
differentiation.
probably met like some either active or current or former military personnel at parties in Taram who had a similar demeanor. This one's just dialed up to like a 12.
Kind of, except
Yeah.
that as far as you can tell, the demeanor is backwards. Like
Right.
you've seen this demeanor before, but the people that have it are angry or grumpy or serious, and he doesn't seem to be grumpy or angry, at least.
Just the way his face looks.
But he looks like he might be.
He has resting blizzard face.
Resting blizzard face. Titania with a natural 20.
Yeah.
Potentially it's the staff, the Nimbus staff, Scythe now as it is, that's sort of giving you this little bit of extra insight into what's otherwise a completely unreadable individual. But you get the sense that he has no sense of mortal time scale or mortality in the first place. He seems amused by things that would be terrifying. Like he seems interested in things that people would normally be, averse to. He laughs at the wrong parts of the jokes, and he genuinely seems to be having a good time and seems to have come here looking for entertainment effectively. But in the sense of a social engagement as opposed to I want to hire a bard kind of thing. You get the sense that he has a very earnest interest in mortals, but has no ability to comprehend mortality or mortals on a grand scale.
Ancient dragon holding up a pile of humans. I just think they're neat.
Kind of, yeah. And he seems genuine. He is not like you haven't as much as the face is like a little bit like aggressive, sat. You haven't gotten you haven't gotten an ounce of deceptiveness coming off of him so far.
Okay, all right. She's not gonna do anything with that right now because Drummond's got his question to ask about the glacier, and I think Ingvar, we still have telepathy.
Wrong game.
Oh wait, damn it. Yeah. That was bound to happen at least once.
No, the
Valdeth,
telepathic bond only lasts an hour.
Do we still have it?
No, it was for the first hour of travel.
That's right. Yeah, never mind.
Unless while we were waiting for him, at some point while we were waiting for him, it was like, hey, we might want to keep this because it takes 10 minutes.
I think Valdeth would have objected to that because that would have been something that would have seemed deceptive to as a host. It would have been impolite.
That's fair. Yeah.
She's just going to kind of like I'm assuming that Valdeth is going to ask about you already did. So she's actually gonna is Grumman still like fearing stuff back and forth, or is he finally sat down? Otherwise, I'm going to grab him and make him like sit at the table and enjoy this magnificent food you've made.
You're muted, Craig.
He's sort of like leaning against a sideboard. I mean, he's kind of on his feet, but he seems comfortable.
Okay. When like Valdeth is getting to up to the current point, or like wrapping up that story,
There's like getting to the and thus here we are, end of the story.
Is going to lean over to Grumman and like nudge you, ask him about I think he'll be interested even if he doesn't know.
Oh, right, that's a good idea. Thanks, Titania. I'll refill Titania's drink. Is this that time?
Yeah, it's probably about now-ish.
Okay. Well, if it's a natural lull in the conversation, Carmen's sort of looking around, seeing if anybody else is going to ask anything, or if our guest is, has a follow-up question or anything. But whenever there is a break, Carmen will say, "I did have another question, sort of in your area of expertise, if I might."
Please, ask away.
As I mentioned, I'm retired, but I still have an avid interest in making drinks and exploring new sorts of food, cuisine, and their effects and so forth. And well, I had an idea, something of an old recipe I came across, but it calls for something called Ever Ice off of the Ever Glacier, and neither of those is anything I'd ever heard of. So I thought something having to do with ice. You seem like you might be the foremost authority on it.
Interesting. It's an odd request.
Oh, I'm an odd dwarf.
The Everglacier. I believe part of it pokes into this reality, somewhere in the south. Well, the Everglacier is another word or another term for the great expanse of ice that the elemental plane of ice is formed from. My home.
The same one from which you split, then?
Indeed, the same fissure from which I formed. In a sense, he says as he holds up that fork and knife made of ice that he has.
Mm-hmm.
The very same ice that I call.
So Ever Ice would be elemental ice from that region of the elemental plane.
He sort of reaches a hand across the table, and it seems impossibly long because it reaches all the way over to where Grummond is and places a fork down in front of him. And then comes back to where he is sitting.
Oh, that's mighty kind of you. Grumman will reach into his pocket, pull out a handkerchief, and say, "I'm assuming this is the sort of thing probably don't want to be touching with my bare hands, eh?"
He sort of he looks like he's trying to consider exactly how cold it is for mortal touch. I'm not certain.
Put your hand
in sorry then.
Unconcentrated liquid nitrogen.
Right. Well, I hope you'll excuse my caution then. I'm very grateful for you for this, and don't want to harm it or myself, if you understand. And we'll pick it up with the not touching flesh to it, but we'll pick it up. And
it's cold. It's really cold. For a moment, like that relatively warm temperature that the room is at for you, drops just a little bit.
Okay. Drummond will say, "Excuse me just a moment," and I'll scurry off towards the kitchen and put it in my Ever Ice box.
A trivial trinket, if nothing else. Glad to be.
Oh, it's very much appreciated.
Well, you steel hearts have come a long way.
And we've got yet further to go. Many ancient weapons to find to combat the ancient threats we face.
I'm always interested in the tales of adventurers. There's always so much. Get up and go. Always in a rush to get everywhere.
Has Galadir been mentioned in front of this guy yet?
I mean, he mentioned Galadir.
He
Not by
mentioned
name,
Galadir. Okay, right. Okay. Do we get any particular vibe off of that?
He referenced Galadir as that wizard in a tower.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Fairly nice. compared to how most people describe him.
Yeah, he seems relatively indifferent to Galadir. So
Okay.
I mean, in
all right.
fairness, it's not like he had extensive conversations with Galadir, or even probably a single word. Once that happens, the opinion starts to.
Yeah, it does not strike you that he has had any conversation at all with Galadir.
Yeah.
And Galadir has
Okay.
never mentioned him, so
Like, think about it. If you just say, "Hey, I know a wizard named Galadir," then okay, he starts
Right.
at sort of this point. Then he says his first word, and it starts going.
if you recall, earlier on in the campaign, Relnor didn't want to say his name because he bugs him.
This Galadir just pops into Railnor's head every time Railnor says his name.
I love that.
You
I
summoned
love
me.
that I have played the only character in this setting that seems to have even remotely positive feelings towards Galadir.
That's not true. Sin has somewhat positive.
That's fair.
Power source, man.
We belong to a very exclusive club, Jeremy.
Yes, absolutely.
To be fair, Gashkar didn't really have an issue with Galadir either. It's something about your family.
Yep.
The funniest part of it, like, I typically play the characters that hate Galadir the most.
Yep.
Which is why I made Sin.
To balance this out a little.
If I remember correctly, I believe it was literally on a dare almost to make a pro Galadir character.
To make a warlock of Galadir specifically.
I had mentioned that technically Galadir is powerful enough to be considered a warlock patron.
Yes.
And that was really all it took.
Yep.
Vespia has yet to meet Galadir.
Grumman has not met him yet either.
You find the one person that Grumman is just abjectly rude to.
I wanted to participate in any of the adventures you'd heard about.
He looks ponderously for a moment. Then again, everything he does is ponderous, so.
Even just a little bit.
I will admit the idea is something of an interest of mine, but most of you move far too quickly for me. Everything is too important, too urgent. Don't know if I can muster up that urgency.
I imagine as an immortal being of the elemental plane of ice, the world moves at a different pace.
That it does. The relative gait of a glacier along land. Inevitable, but slow.
I'm curious. You seem like you've seen many, many years. Would you know of any of these ancient weapons that we've told in this tale that we're searching for?
He thinks for a minute. I do recall. Let me make a roll for him. Where's your notes? I do recall time when bladesmiths forged weapons of power. I've heard tale of an entity the other side of the world from me. What you mortals refer to as use curva, I believe. It was a beast of legend described as immortal, slain somewhere in the north of there. I do not know where, but stories of the battle refer to a hero wielding a blade, black of blade, but blood red of edge. The flower or hilt. Apparently, it was used to kill that immortal creature, if I recall correctly.
We thank you for that information.
Of course, and I thank you for the lovely dinner. But I feel I've stayed over long on the ground. I must return to my store. But, as a gesture of appreciation, I will make my way south and east. And with me rides the storm. In the morning, you shall find your path a bit easier.
We appreciate your kindness.
Thank you very much, my lord.
I hear the south is very good for your joints.
Blood.
He stands, and as he does that, chair groans as the pressure is lifted from it. Thank you for the meal, Grummond. You are a impressive chef.
Oh, I appreciate the compliment. You do a terrible job at things for long enough, it turns out you start to become all right at them.
Such is the way of things, even amongst my kind.
As he stands, Gent also gets to his feet and does the very polite sort of, Taram nobility. The way you say goodbye to a guest whose rank exceeds yours.
I appreciate the opportunity to cook with a new ingredient, rhymeworm, and I'm looking forward to seeing what I can do with your great gift of the Everrice.
Of course. Should you be in the area again, please invite me for dinner.
Oh, before you go, sir, Skuz opens his little treasure trove lock thingy, and pulls out the taffy. What did Gremlin give him at the first session? Candy.
Yeah, saltwater taffy.
Yeah, and Skuz hands one to here you go, sir, for your travels.
He picks it up, holds it between two fingers. Thank you, Skuz.
You're welcome.
It was a pleasure having dinner with you, and we look forward to potentially hosting you again in the future.
Nods his head. Then, Rest well. Know that any creatures buried in the snow nearby are unlikely to disturb you for the evening. They tend to burrow when I am nearby, not come up for a day or so afterwards.
Good to know.
He will walk towards the door, throw the candy into his mouth,
Yay!
does not unwrap it.
Yeah, no.
Excellent.
Why would he? Why would he?
Yeah, this is how you eat it. It's like
Just a little extra roughage.
eating a banana with the peel on.
I'll push open the door,
Exactly how this guy would eat a banana.
and as the Lord of the North Wind, Elemental Lord of Eastfeld, exits your humble abode for the evening, that's where we will leave off for the week. Say goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.